if we're being, fully considerate to Aphelios' kit. No wins for any of INTZ on these champions, by the way.
I don't know, it's a couple L's up in the top lane and no experience on the rest of them. So good to see that Ninja Kiwi is joining the contingent of Draven enjoyers from the CBLOL. They're kind of latent every now and again. You kind of see them coming out, you kind of forget about them. Obviously, we had BRTT kind of making the case for that champion on a global scale back in the day.
Yeah.
And now we have Hansama carrying it in LEC. We've got Natuno and Titan picking up here. We've had even Duds the Boy pulled one out and won a game on it earlier in this split, as ZZK has just battered Robo out of this at level 1. He's just going to recall and come back. It's not going to have too much of an effect, but still.
What I would like to have seen is Yampi psychopath walk to the top side, throw a Q to stop the recall, and just auto-win top lane for ZZK, because either the Renekton stays on half HP, or he has to burn TP to get back to that lane. So, it's not the end of the world, right? It is now just an even neutral laning phase going in. ZZK is going to have control of what happens at level 1, but that's about it.
Yeah, he's got that wave control. You've seen spamming the emotes. Has a small HP deficit. Going to grow a little bit when these minions tap him a few times, but generally speaking, I mean, we would still, I assume, expect Renekton to win this lane, just because that's why we pick Renekton, no? Like, that's what this champion is for.
Yeah. And particularly when you've got a Sejuani as well, right? The Bash Bros duo really does go hard. Okay,
yeah.
This is a small engage
here. Yeah, the Aegis, the Glacial, I should say, can't even keep them in check right there, and the Nautilus hook can... You just throw it at the Leona when they're coming into you, and you just kind of cancel the whole thing.
Yeah, so good actual trading from Loud to begin with. Seos and Root, of course, Root, the one change to the Loud roster from last year, and has been serviceable, I will say, down on that bot side. I don't know that he's made quite the splash that Brunsey has or had on this roster, but has certainly been a replacement worthy of the name.
Yeah, I think I certainly prefer Root on these scaling teamfight carries for sure. I would have more faith in him on this Aphelios. I didn't love his Lucian that much, So we'll have to see if Aphelios is something else that he can turn his hand to. Of course, hasn't played it, I don't think, yet in this season. We're kind of seeing the resurgence of Aphelios now on this patch. But I would have faith that the archetype is one that he can pilot very well. As Yumpy maybe going to run into Croc here on his Raptors. Only half HP for the Sejuani. But if Yumpy goes the long way around, they might just ships in the night miss each other. If he finds Croc here, that's a freebie. Well, Croc, is he going to come up with this?
Oh, that's so unlucky, actually. With the red buff being cleared, if Yumpy just waits there, that's probably a flash forced. But now Croc's going to walk around, spot Yumpy with his hand in the cookie jar, and the timing on that, if Yumpy had a little more patience, then yes, he finds that and gets away with it. But they're operating under, so many hypotheticals there that it's so difficult to call either one of them making the right or wrong play. Yumpy does secure himself the topside Scuttle Crab, but Croc was able to get a full clear off and will be able to reset and might well be able to head toward that bot crab as well. There's a pushing wave in the bot side, so Ninja Kiwi and Nia aren't going to have priority for that timing on the bot side Scuttle Crab, where Croc has obviously gone around and secured all of his camps. Yumpy spent a little bit of time fishing for an invade that didn't really yield anything for, and will lose out in the long run.
Yeah, Croc has just done the walk in a straight line trick, and Yumpy has tried to flash predict him and like ward jump and flash behind him and do all this crazy stuff, and Croc's just done a full clear and is now just going to wind up next to the crab and going to take it with a CS lead. So
okay, I guess
I've crushed it. Yeah, you can do all your crazy stuff all you want, man. I'm just going to farm the camps. He is just going to go into that pit, start up that crab right now, as Root and Seos crash this big wave into Draven and Leona down there. We can see the Annie even just taking a step over to try and check vision, trying to make sure that is what he's doing. No, he is just doing the normal pathing, guys. He's not doing anything crazy. He's just he's finished now.
I think as well shielding that bot lane a little bit. There's a chance there where we see Croc head down for a dive on the bot lane, right? You have, I assume at this point, Graviton gun for Root, Seos, right? They've got enough CC to lock a Draven down. But they're not doing that. It's just a good little hover from Nos Ferrus, keeping his AD carry, just a little safer than even necessary, honestly. But first Drake spawns and is instantly started by Croc. This is a level 4 Sejuani. This is going to take a fair amount of time and potentially a little bit of effort from the team as well.
Yeah, Tinan's going to rotate over. Nos Ferrus just TP'd back into the mid lane there. Tinan's with the first move. And I think this was something, we always used to joke about CBLOL hates dragons, right? Just always goes for Herald, doesn't like to fight over dragons. But Loud last year was one of the teams that would go for early dragons. They would actually start playing and fighting around them more than we would expect. And maybe it's just the team and the players in particular, or maybe it's, you know, just new coaches coming in or something like this. But Loud joining that league has meant that we've seen a bit more early dragon focus. They're still down for it right here as the Chemtech is picked up with a Mountain next on the docket. And we'll see what that soul ends up being for now. But it's been a quiet one so far, especially compared to last game. My goodness, it's been positively peaceful in this game for the first 6 minutes.
So, for these rosters, right, we go into later and later stages of the game. I want to talk about how much I love Talia just as a champion in late game team fights when anybody has mobility. Yampi and ZZK are genuinely going to struggle really hard when it comes to finding engages through Tinones specifically. Unraveled Earth makes it really difficult for any of them to push forward. Have to hold this point though because Loud are in a little bit of trouble on this bot side. Talia has got 6 and can respond, and there's miscommunication here on the bot side.
Nia's gone in, but both Ninja Kiwi and the full INTZ bot lane get locked up by the Gravitum. It's a rough trade for them, but still getting tagged by these Infernum AoEs. And is that visible? The Sejuani passive connecting onto Robo? Okay, sure. Okay,
so
I was thinking like, oh my god.
Yeah, it would be a little bit too annoying, obviously, for Sejuani's going for these ganks. ZZK knows though, right? Even if you don't know where the Sejuani is, your jungler's bot lane. This is the prime time to get ganked, so just play with that respect. Don't push too far forward, unless you jump forward here. Okay, no 6 on Croc, he's fine.
Safe enough, ZZK going to absorb this wave. And they'll see the ult was dropped in the mid lane, as we can see Nosferus with Tippers, helping him clear out that wave. And ZZK, potentially the dive coming in, the flashes both burned, but there's the counter-strike buying a bit of time. He finds the stun, and sidesteps the Glacial Prison. ZZK with the footwork, gets away from it.
Like looking a little bit like Michael Jackson there, just like dodging, dipping. He's having a nice little time, moving his way around with all these skill shots, well times the counter-strike as well. GG. Oh, that was gorgeous.
Yeah, ice cold.
I mean, he loses a lot.
ZZK.
Like, don't get me wrong, it's still really bad.
But he doesn't die.
Lives.
So he has a moral victory because he didn't die and he looked pretty cool. So, you know, he is still very much behind the Renekton doing Renekton things with the Sejuani, as you mentioned, that 2v2 or 2v1 duo, I should say, pretty tricky to deal with. But across the rest of the map, you know, it's not really it's fairly even, I guess, across the lanes. I'm not really sure. You mentioned, like, Talia. You love Talia in these later team fights, and, you know, it can just kind of clear the wave in lane and just step away. Is Annie, like, dominant in the lane? Is she supposed to beat people, or is she just supposed to be, like, this is an Annie ult that we're trying to get here?
I think she has a lot of burst damage when you hit that level 6 marker, and with First Strike, you actually outrange a lot of people with your auto attacks, which is a weird thing for me just to talk about, right? But you can actually get really aggressive with Molten Shield First Strike and just start harassing people with autos and start really whittling away at their HP, so you can be fairly dominant. I think for this matchup specifically, the thing that I remember is Talia does no damage early, and you just kind of have to bite the bullet, because especially when we see this build from Tinones, right? He spent... what's that? Upwards of 1,500 gold with 0 AP in his items so far. So,
yeah,
we're scaling. We're scaling.
We are scaling right here. It's the same build that we saw Piloto go, but he had the double kill of gold to accelerate him past that low point fairly quickly. And Tinones is going to be floundering in the no AP zone for a while. INTZ are taking control of this topside. Herald Croc found his way onto bot lane. Tinones as well with the Weaver's Wall. With the bot lane from INTZ getting well out of dodge, well in time. Whirling Death, in fact, thinning out that wave as well. But it's still going to be 2 plates, at least for Root. Maybe even 3, actually. The Crescendum is just
it does
a factor of Aphelios that I always forget about. He has to cleanse away from the Leona, and then another interrupted Zenith Blade. Seos covering him off there as Root drops the Moonlight Vigil, but doesn't have any summoners left. If he gets CC by anything else, he's probably over. He's made it. He's made it back to safety.
Okay, double summoner spells burned from Root means that any of these dives that may happen down on the bot side are going to get a lot easier to execute. Nosferus and Yampi sniffing about, but they are so spotted on their way down to this bot side that it's not even funny. Triple control ward in that bot side of the map. I'm going to clear out the one in mid lane, but Yampi spotted on one as the entrance to the red buff there as well. So it's not even like, Yampi's heading back into the fog of war, really. Loud have got so much control over the bot side.
all the vision they need to step up now. Back down into the spot river with the second dragon spawning. We'll see if they want to prioritize that stacking. Continuing from level 1. They've got the 4 members down. Looks like they are. Robo with no TPs walking his way down the river. Yumpy with the Herald could maybe try and make some action happen with it, but is currently just waiting for a moment potentially to threaten us. In fact, they've caught Ninja Kiwi. They've got the Nautilus ultimate onto him. Root doesn't have the flash, but Nautilus can hold him in place for a while. Tino to the Weaver's Wall. Ninja Kiwi with no mana, no summoners. The seismic shove is just as easy as that. And first blood served up to Aphelios as the dragon is completed by Croc.
Well, and INTZ are just nowhere on the map, right? Like, what is happening for them elsewhere? And it's literally nothing. They're so late to this top play to try and force Robo back, but it's going to be turret platings taken. Maybe they get the whole thing. But that is such a big boon for Loud. Not just First Blood onto Root, but you're taking down all of the stacks off of a Draven. Every time we see a Draven in a game, it's who gets the first kill, and is it Draven? How much gold does he get? It doesn't matter anymore. Just lost 2/3 of the stacks that you've built up, and that first cash in is now way further from relevant when and if it happens.
Yeah, slowing down the Draven considerably down there in the bot side while giving Root that first blood extra gold. He's now onto the Gale Force and is looking well practiced on this Aphelios. Seos as well has been dealing very well with both the Leona engages and, as we can see, also finding aggressive moments of his own. Been very practiced on this Nautilus, and this bot side very comfortable now for Loud, as long as Root can avoid getting Leona ulted in the next kind of 30 seconds or so until his cleanse comes back.
I remember at MSI, it was, I think at Worlds, excuse me, Seos was a Mumu only, right? He was engage bot for Loud. So the practice on this Nautilus, I assume, goes hand in hand with times spent on the Loud roster and obviously previous metas. Really making the most of the Nautilus's pick potential on that bot side. Now with Gale Force on Root as well, he may be able to just cheat the spacing from Ninja Kiwi. If Loud decide that they want to make another play. Probably happens on the timing of Tin owns his Weaver Wall, so they can get 4 people on that bot side. But up to the top lane here as Robo's doing good damage, but hasn't quite found ZZK yet.
He's got the Dominus burning away, maybe looking for the dive, and here's Tin owns, in fact, dedicating that time, just a flash over the wall onto the Jacks there, force a flash of their own, and there's the engagement on bot side. We see the cleanse has been used, the Gale Force has been used, they got the knock up onto Draven. Everyone's pretty darn low down here, but the Yumpy shield flies in, safeguards Nia, and Croc round the corner, hungry for a target, throws the ult through the goalposts, and now in the 1 versus 3 he finds one, but the rest of his team are well out of bounds. Nosferus has pushed them back from the bot lane tower as that dive in topside finally comes good for Loud. Took a while for those kills to come through, but it's 1 for 1, I believe, overall.
Yeah, two for 1 in favor of Loud, actually. And I think that's actually a fairly big win for Loud. Not just are they finding the advantage in kills, but they also find the turret with platings on still as well. You know, you look at that bot lane, how many plates did Nia and Kiwi get for that? 0, right? They've got 1 plate this entire laning phase as Draven Leona. Feels a little bit bad, and we can take a look at the total gold now. Robo far ahead of the curve, Root ahead over his counterpart. Tin owns the same thing. All 3 carries for Loud are up over their opponents. It's a really good position for Loud to be in with a composition that does damage later on.
This does feel like a bit of an outclassing so far from Loud. They've drafted well to their strengths. They're winning where they need to win, getting just more value out of the plays they are making as INTZ. Nia caught out in this river brush. Does get hooked up by Seos, but Nosferus comes in threatening into Root there. You got to respect the anti-burst, but Robo is massive at this point, and Croc leading the charge back in. Can't find Nia, but Nosferus abandoned on the front line. Bumped down, chopped into pieces by Robo. Draven ult tries to thin the wave out. ZZK on the flank, gets onto Root, he flashes away, but he's got Crescendum Severum. This team fight is a playground for Aphelios, especially when the seismic shove serves up another kill for him. And that's another 3 for 1 that time. Even better for Loud.
Death Ball, group up and kill. Loud just exemplifying the ease of execution that their composition has got. Not looking for fancy flanks, not looking for fancy plays. Instead, use Nautilus, kill target. It's not difficult, but it's good League of Legends, right? They know Nia's in this brush. They've got some sort of sixth spidey sense going off right here. First target is Nia. Okay, we'll try and do our DPS to him. No? Okay, well, the mid laner just flashed into all 5 of us and there's now gold in the middle. Easy enough for us to pick that up as soon as the stasis comes down. And then you're thinking, okay, they may be overextending here looking for this turret. But then Robo, Yampi, hops back in, decides, I'll die for the cause. Why not? ZZK comes in as well. It's just not quite synergized enough from INTZ. If all of those 3 had have gone in together, the teamfight looks a lot different, but they're essentially giving 5 versus 1s 3 times over.
And Loud are very much on the same page, such as the benefit of keeping 4 out of 5 players from 1 year to the next, only trading out the AD carry, and Root was spacing around the Annie very well on his own, again managing the team fights to perfection. This is, for me, one of the greatest strengths of this player. The rest of Loud in sync and get the job done. They've got control of this Baron area, gatekeeping INTZ away. Loud, pristine dragon control so far in this game, as Tinones might be in a bad spot here. ZZK looks for the flank, but can't get much work done. It's just going to ward jump to safety, and now that river fight's kicking off. The 4 versus 4 Robo in the middle of the moment. Root lays down the Infernum and burns across INTZ. Scolds them out of the river, and will finally fall to Ninja Kiwi. Gets some gold back, but is traded by Robo. ZZK finds himself again in the middle of 4 very dangerous Loud members. Yumpy the last left standing. This time it's a 4-for-1, man. These fights just keep getting worse and worse for INTZ.
And you can see Ninja Kiwi, he's trying here. The most damage on his team. ZZK again late to the party. Nosferus puts his cooldowns out but dies immediately after. Loud have got soul points. They are 1 Drake away at 22 minutes in from having the Infernal Soul, and like we can see from the triple carries, them being all ahead, them being all damage as well. It's not like it's a Cassante and a Galio sporting in the solo lanes for Loud. This Infernal is going to go crazy, and we haven't really even seen Tinones do big damage yet. He's still scaling up on that Talia. Tears fully ready to go, but with just the Ludens in the back pocket already dealing meaningful enough damage to matter. When those items start coming through, I can't emphasize this enough. It becomes even harder for INTZ to play the team fights through Unraveled Earth because 3 of their engage tools all require mobility.
Exactly, the Talia really silver bulleting INTZ as they head on to the second Herald to try and get something back at least. They are on vision, but Loud not in the best position to punish right here, and ZZK has made his way onto bot side to try and crash a wave. With objective bounties up, they could find an angle back here. Herald there for Yumpy. Loud instead opting for mid lane. And it's been cool, calm, and collected from our defending champions. They know where their strengths are. They're walking into a fight and executing on it, and INTZ floundering a little bit, unable to make it stick. Back to this top side, a second Herald drilling into this top side tower. Let's see if they can get a second charge. They've definitely got the numbers for it.
Yeah, I mean, they get that turret, but look at the mid lane, look at the bot lane. It's free time for Root, for Tinones to try and get turrets. This second turret falling is a fairly meaningful boost. Question is now, do they get out to safety? They've got Seos and Croc here. 4 versus 4 effort on that top side, and instead Loud give this up. They're going to get 1 turret in response in the bot side, but that's a big win if you are INTZ. Where has my screen gone? Holy moly. Hopefully we can get that
flying
sorted.
into space.
It's okay. Yeah. Rose do be doing stuff. There we go.
That's the budget minimap focus tool for us.
Ah, yes, I see.
Drag the whole feed over until
Respect,
the minimap's
honestly.
in the middle. It's back.
Absolutely
We're
fine.
back.
It's good banter at the end of the day. Do not worry.
It's all good. As we can see the gold chart there. So that, as you say, the meaningful boost, a big chunk of that lead cut out by INTZ on that Herald push. Definitely couldn't go amiss for them. And now Root does need to be afraid of Nosferus with a Flash Annie right now. But he does have his own summoners. Likely would just be a, you know, flash for flash trade, maybe a cleanse as well.
Okay, Ninja Kiwi. Oh no.
He doesn't have that flash. He's dropped the cleanse already, but the story's already over. Killing spree for Robo as Tinones has been caught on the other side. That's a carry for carry. Trade with the Annie ult and the flash dropped. Now, what the Loud want to do with this? How confident do they feel currently they're just sticking on this mid push.
And they've got another wave coming in as well. They may well be able to take this turret down in its entirety and have an open inhibitor heading into the next 5 minutes or in the rest of the game. Yeah, INTZ, they look like they're going to try and fight for this. Root is the target, but they don't have an AD carry to fight with.
ZZK has the TP, but he's currently channeling recall. He's TPing now behind them. If they can keep this one going, they're trying to get on top of Root, but they need to keep themselves alive, so ZZK has an angle. But they've already gone down, and the Whirling Death is there. ZZK finds a stun, and there's a trade back onto the support. But ultimately, a 1 for 2, and the flank did not come good as much as INTZ wanted.
Again, INTZ not joined up in their efforts. It's another fight that they take that we look at and can think maybe is winning, but they're just not there as a full 5-man. Louder together, Louder winning these fights. Now this Baron may be a bit overzealous, but a good Weaver's Wall cuts off the carries from INTZ. They are all 3 carries though. No jungle, so Smite 50-50 not ready.
In goes ZZK. Nosferus is there with no, but Ninja Kiwi's got the burster onto Root. He's into the pit and he's down. Robo trades it back, and ZZK leaping around the pit, but in the 3v1 will not make it out alive. Now the stun ready for Nosferus. He's almost got Tibbers back, and here's Nia. Baron's already fallen, and Annie not looking too healthy, but Nia wants a piece of it. Robo happy to be served it up. Yumpy in to safeguard, and maybe it's a 3v3 that now INTZ feel pretty darn good about. Nia finds another Zenith Blade, and the stun, and the ult, and they'll get another buff down. Yumpy doesn't quite land the Sonic Wave, but he goes in for the safeguard, wants to find it. Another buff taken off. Wow. A triple for Lee Sin. And INTZ drag back that fight. I think maybe only 1 buff left. Only Seos holding onto it.
Depends if Seos was alive. Looks like he's going to be wearing purple, but that's not the target that you want. Yeah. Root died in there. Root definitely doesn't have the Baron. It is Seos only for Loud. And INTZ here, getting scrappy, getting a little bit messy. But they do come out on top in this exchange. Yes, the Baron goes down, but they're able to stall it for just long enough, and I think Loud make a really big misread on this situation. As soon as they get this Baron, their efforts should be to leave as soon as possible, right? Croc and Robo have both got their own mobility. They should be able to dash over the back of that wall and get out, use Baron recalls, because the second that this fight gets even more extended, they've got the debuff of Baron as well, where their stats are all drained, and Yampi, I mean, he's missed the Sonic Wave, but knows that 10 ounce is right there, and more than happy to try and collapse. Sales, the sole man escorting in this Baron. And off the back of that as well, INTZ denied Dragon Soul.
Exactly, that's pretty big right there. That is probably the biggest thing to come out of this play, honestly. Currently a negative Baron power play for Loud. The gold lead shrunk to about 1.5k. And as you say, the Soul denied, so they don't have that extra burst. And in inventories, we check on the actual power level being brought to these fights. It's not that different. Draven with 1.5 to match the Aphelios. Same in mid lane as well. 2.5 items, arguably in the favor of Nosferus with that needlessly large rod. It's definitely comebackable for INTZ right here. And now they've slowed that Soul. They have a chance to get their feet under them and maybe mount a real defense of that next objective play in a few minutes.
Did Berserker Greaves get gutted or something? Like, did I miss a patch where Berserker Greaves were bad?
No one loves it today.
Both are AD carries.
I think it literally is just the tabby change, I guess. They just really love, you know, but because even then, it was fixing it to what the item was supposed to do the whole time. You know, it wasn't even like buffing the numbers.
No, it seems a little strange, but I can appreciate Ninja Tabbies in both of these inventories right now, because we've got double AD bruisers and then some really hard hitting AD carries, so it does make sense. But with no Kraken Slayer, they are going to be feeling that lack of attack speed quite significantly as well. I think that there is a world where you can go for a build with like no attack speed if you've got Kraken in your inventory, just because that gives you scaling attack speed per item. Root, not this way. No, okay, he's fine. That was the route that Juliera walked yesterday that lost Liberty the game, and I had flashbacks.
Yeah, Loud though. I've learned nothing from this. As Yumpy flies in again onto Tinons. This fight on 2 fronts right here. Full engage from INTZ, and Ninja Kiwi's got Root. Man's already dead. He didn't die where Liberty did, but it was only a few seconds more until he went the same way. But Robo doing a bit of doing them dirty in that fight. Somehow with the Gore Drinker heals himself back up, and Ninja Kiwi still alive, full HP. Feeling scrappy, but how Loud got away with that one, I will never know.
They have no purpose winning that fight, and Robo was just immovable in the front line. Tanked up for so long with Dominus, Sterax, and Gore Drinker. Must have gone through about 6,000 health in shields and HP during that fight, because there was no way that INTZ shouldn't just be wiping in that fight. This is a 4-level gap as well, Kiwi. You do need to be careful stepping up here.
Yeah, this is kind of wild. He is using the range to just get some of that gold back, I suppose, and I guess he's got cleanse, and if they're tracking flashes, then Robo doesn't have it, but it still feels like, okay, he gets 1 kill and tries to step up to a 619 Renekton. But he is going to go back and, you know, with this base from Ninja Kiwi, potentially complete a Bloodthirster, I would hope, on this one, with that extra gold that he received. There it is, 3 item spike for him. Bit of extra survivability once again as well, and we saw there, yeah, Root just evaporating at the start of that play.
It's the Ezreal cosplay, right? Build a mythic challenge, impossible here for Ninja Kiwi. Eventually, he's going to get what, I mean, it could be any item, honestly. Any of the mythics are going to have great value for him. As soon as he picks them up, gets like 4 procs of the legendary item status. So it's a big boost when that mythic item finishes off, and you can see a little bit of a deviation from Root. Opts into BF into a Zeal, so recognizes, hey, I've got no attack speed, I'm also attacking very slowly, maybe I need to get myself a little bit of that stat back in my pocket. I'm not sure what he's going to complete it into. I think Runans has insane value this game, so it could very well be that. But Loud, they know that there's a Drake Soul spawning in about a minute and a half, they've got Baron spawning in a little less than that, and they're fighting on this bot side.
Seos misses the hook, and it drags him way into the wrong side of the fight. He's picked up by Ninja Kiwi, and there's a stun already onto Tinones as well. Big Infernum splashes over them, but Root has to flash to safety. He's so low, he has the Calibrum to play with the range, and Robo, as ever, running interference, doing so much work on the backline. This man
That's a double. That's a triple.
Just unbeatable. He's looking for the Quadra onto Ninja Kiwi. Can he find it? Chasing him down. Draven running for his life. If he can find the E, he'll get away with it, but there's the Quadra. Even holds it for the BM. Robo putting the game on his back right now.
That was Renekton gaming. Holy moly, he was unstoppable. You can see in the DPS that Root was no slouch either. I thought he was going to go down super quickly, but Infernal ult, he shredded them to within a point that Robo could walk up and just last hit everybody. They've got 10-15 seconds now before the carries respawn, but I think they're going to be...
No! How has he done this? How have we done this, Loud? The double for Leona? No way, don't do it. He'll just Q, hold it near. Yumpy's there to finish it off. What on earth are we watching? Loud completely forgetting themselves.
Bramble Vest carry. Everybody starts tanking the turret as soon as Nia just gets auto-attacked. It was incredible. I don't know how they've done
the soul again.
It's the second time that Loud fluffed the bag.
Oh, brother, that is not what we wanted to see. I was thinking, you know, as they were walking in, oh man, I forgot to make the game-ending call because the game's just going to end. No, I was a genius. I just knew exactly what I was doing.
And
the dragon is picked up. Bounty as well. The Baron is live, but no one's going to get an inside track on it. The game will march forward, and the gold lead is still pretty darn close.
We need to... Okay, I was going to say, I think... INTZ have realized where their issues are, and they've started to build some grievous wounds because Robo in that top lane has just not died in team fights. He's gone for... That's Guardian Angel, and it looks like probably Gargoyle as a 5th final item for him, so just really looking to not die and kill everyone as well. Again, have to give credit to Root because his late game Aphelios, it's been caught out, but he's been doing damage in the same time.
Yeah, he got away from that engage before, and as we saw, 7k DPS, the massive Infernum splash damage, and surviving at the end of it all, though did, you know, step on the rake of Bramble's Vest, unfortunately. So, Robo now trying to clear out this vision, all 10 members here, but Ninja Kiwi currently cleaning out mid lane, and remember, we've got those super minions in bot lane. Pushing in, Croc's trying to force the issue. Ninja Kiwi's not in range right now, and Nia, he saved the game a second ago, but he'll be the first to die in this team fight. Look at the AoE though, and the blast cone spreads everyone over the river. Ninja Kiwi's arrived. He finds Tinones, that's a 2-tap. Nosferus there as well to back him up. But Loud have walked away with a 1 for 2.
Tepid fights here as teams are starting to realize how tense this game really is. That inhibitor is doing work. You can see super minions wailing away on this Nexus turret. They're not going to be able to get it because the wave respawned. I think Tibbers is going to do a good enough job. But Yompi is here. He wants to try and steal this, and for Loud, It's a game of gatekeeping. Can they stop the Lee Sin from getting in and DPS it down and not get killed by Ninja Kiwi?
Oh, they're going for Yumpy right now, but Seos has been caught up by Ninja Kiwi. They're going to find him, surely. Yumpy will be bully circled. It's a great stasis to buy some time, and Ninja Kiwi doesn't have time to finish it. He finds the hook and flashes away. Croc keeping him at bay. Yumpy, how is he still alive? How have they left him here? Robo picks him up. Nosferus is in. Croc is low. Tidon to slow. Dominus for Robo.
It's
the
crazy.
Man to carry the game, and he cleanses out for Ninja Kiwi. And the jungler's fallen. INTZ, how are they holding on? How are they clinging onto this game?
This is the best game of the day by far. INTZ have no purpose being so close in this match, but every single time their clutch factor kicks in. And they're just battling with every dying breath. Yumpy buys so much time on the backline, and Seos also buys so much time versus this Draven, but just not quite enough. Double summoner spells burned by Ninja Kiwi there. He's not going to have that for the next time Baron becomes a contested point. But they're still in this game, INTZ. Every time it looks like they've made the fumble that loses them the game, they find one more way to get back into the match.
We're seeing that X factor for INTZ that the rosters just haven't had for the last few splits. INTZ is the most CBLOL titles of any organization. They are one of our most storied orgs, one of our oldest champions. And for so long, it's just felt like they haven't had that spark, that fire to get them across the line. Now, with Ninja Kiwi, Nosferus, resurging Yumpy, the addition of Nia and ZZK, this roster seems to have that little something extra to keep them clinging on, to keep them fighting against our current champions. They're engaging onto Robo. It's a bold decision, but he's dropping very low. But they found Ninja Kiwi. The summonerless Draven drops off the bat, and Robo weathers the engage, flashes in for Nosferus. INTZ get a bit too bold with it and lose two members.
And now surely this is it, Trajan. Both carries down. Yumpy and ZZK are going to have to perform a miracle to keep this game alive. Inhibitor respawns, it gives them a couple seconds longer.
Seismic shove onto ZZK. The hook doesn't land, but the man's 0-7-5. He's really not in the position to carry this game as Root with the Chevron, with the Crescendum, will pick it up. Nia not going to find the double this time. Last ditch effort from INTZ.
Just hit the Nexus, please.
And I guess I got a bit too philosophical with it, with the praise. And INTZ instantly, that fight goes so badly awry. Ninja Kiwi's alive, but again, still summonerless. Cannot stand up to the onslaught of Loud. A shaky win at the end of the day, but a win nonetheless. And they will join Pain and Red at 10-6.
Eventually. Stop far.
When they feel like it, I guess.
Please hit the Nexus, guys. This is not, it's not funny anymore, okay? You had